Okay, so I'm trying to get some knives boxed off today. I've got a ruck of things to do today. I've got some axes to not get finished up, but get ready to the final grind, final profile, get them heat treated, hopefully. And I don't know if I'll have a chance to sharpen them today. But I'm just putting these knives in the oven. I've just been painting them with a coating of it's called satinite. It's like a slurry, like a powder you make into a slurry. This, and all it does is people use it to paint onto the rock wool. Makes it go firm, stops it from obviously having the fibres blowing around in the forge, but it also makes a good, it's like a barrier for when you're heat treating. Stops the blades from oxidising, so it's basically easier to grind, clean them up when you come to polish them. So I've obviously got the textured finish that I wanted, so I've just coated them. Stops the oxygen getting from too much. I just bake them on. Stick them in the little oven, bake them on until they're dried out, and then have them in there for about an hour, and then obviously I'll heat treat them, I'll quench them. Heat them to the critical temperature, then I'll magnetic quench them. Nothing too technical, like I say, it's only leaf spring, and then I will temper them, put them back in the oven for about an hour and a half, 200 degrees roughly, just basically a nice golden colour. I mean, you can do it over the forge. But I'll stick them in the little electrical oven that I've got. It works quite well. And while that's tempering, I will start grinding the axes. Right, so my knives weren't successful. I've ground them too thin, and there's just too much warpage on them to save them. Obviously, the tangs you could straighten out, which is a shame because these were nice knives. But you know, I'm not a knife guy. I don't particularly make a lot of knives. And that one's seriously been on it. Obviously, that's a much bigger knife. But one thing it was, I mean, obviously next time I shouldn't really grind them as thin. But yeah, the heat treating process is quite impressive. So I've just got one of the blades clamped in here now. This is a super thin blade. So I set you up here. Now, where can I put you? Well, you can see that there, yeah? Take my knife, my hammer. So we're bending it. I'll snap though. It'll snap now though. Crack foam in there? No. Thought we had a crack, but we don't. Alright, let's try and break the tip off. Okay. Shatter. Be able to tell from the structure what sort of, it's like a uniform crystal. It looks like it's done pretty well. I'll check the Rockwell on them. There we go. That's quite a harsh test, obviously, because you're bending it. Okay, so even though we've got like a massive failure on these knives, this could be prevented next time. We're not grinding them so thin. I mean, I knew this. This is stupid, simple stuff. But yeah, this is the, well, I don't know. It's frustrating is what it is. 8 knives. These are a nice little kitchen, well, decent sized kitchen knives. It's not the first time it's happened. I'm sure it won't be the last. I'm not a knife guy. You know, I predominantly make axes. I've made a few knives. I've been obviously successful. I've got a few nice kitchen knives that I've made for myself. It's from pattern welded knives that I've made. One of the first blades I ever made, going back a number of years, it was a forge welded little knife, like a bushcraft knife that I made, and I still use it to this day. It's really good. I had a slight bit of delamination. It was my first one I'd ever done. It was all done by hand. Yeah, on a plus side, these are actually heat treated really well. I've just been giving them. Well, I'm not going to do anything with them now. They're not saleable, or I could even give them as gifts. But they are tough and very springy. I've just been bashing one against a bar of steel with the back of a hammer, and it didn't shatter. You know, deform the edge, which you'd expect. But you know, a good number of blows. I'll get some more footage of these because I'm not going to be using them now, obviously, which is a shame. But I'll just take my frustration out on them and just test them. And I'll just record it. I'll keep the information. I've got my heat treating cycle that I've done. But this is like 60 Rockwell. Isn't touching the knives at all. So that's impressive. I'll set it up in a vise. I'll show you how springy they are, that they spring back. Considering this is just generic leaf spring. So, between 60 and 65. So they could afford, in theory, to have a bit more time in the tempering cycle, but you know, I've drop tested them on a hard surface. They're still holding their edge. I'll show you now. Say that now, I'll do it on this one and it won't hold. On the plus side, I've got, how many axes have I got here that have been successful? 9 axes, I think. So, you can't see there, but there's the anvil head. Right, so, you can see there. Dropping it from about 1 metre high. Still has the tip. So yeah, there we go again. Few sparks. Still retain the tip. Still has the tip. So, you know, that's pretty good. Should we try going a bit higher? Stand on the anvil. Oh, yeah. Right. I'd say we're about 2 meters now. So this is, you know, you're not going to drop it this height, are you, on the kitchen floor? Right, it's starting to flatten the tip now. You can just see, but it isn't broken. Could easily just quickly grind that up. So that's impressive. Alright, let's do some other tests. Right, I'm going to get my goggles on, but let's put the knife in there. Can you see that? Okay, so there's the blade. What's it take to snap it? Pretty impressive, isn't it? At least it is to me. That's some force. I mean, you're not going to trap that in the kitchen drawer, are you, like that? Be quite comfortable selling these if they'd worked out properly, not bloody bent. Okay. Hammer. Okay, so no cracks are forming. Still seems pretty good still. other test can we do? Might just grind a little edge on it and try and chop through some mild steel, find a piece of nail or something. Let's try that. Go, we've got some sort of cutting edge. Let's just find something. I will stop you there. Right, let's. I wasn't recording then, frustratingly. So I've got some welding rods, stick rods, 60-13 rods, the knife. I'm going to start chopping through. Can you see there? Yeah. One. Damage the tip there. Two. Three. Four. Five. I probably should have put a piece of mild steel underneath it because obviously I'm hitting the anvil as it's going through. It didn't affect the anvil, but it's this hitting hardened steel rather than hitting the softer steel, which, you know, you're never going to cut. Right, so that's easily chopping through that. Cut through already. I've cut through some already because I bloody didn't have the camera filming. So you can see there's a few nicks there. But it did successfully. I had one nick on the first one. I cut through an entire rod about 5 or 6 times and I had one nick, which I think was that one. This is the same knife I was just flexing then, and obviously dropped off the anvil, onto the anvil. I mean, these are pretty extreme tests for a kitchen knife. You expect someone to drop it on a kitchen floor, possibly, you know, stone floor or whatever, which is fair enough, which this I think would cope with quite easily. What other tests can we do? This is what happens when you're trying to make stuff, experimenting. So, it's a bit of a shame. I had 8 knives. I lost one during the, well, it was in the forge a little bit too long. Again, too thin, so all that happened is the material ate away and it melted. Part of the edge, so I just threw that to one side. I thought there was no point wasting time on it. Let's get another block of steel. Pretty impressive. I mean, that hasn't chipped my knife. Let's chop it into that steel block. Look at that. I mean, yeah, what? You might hit a bone. Right, that's failed there. It's deforming the edge, obviously, but you'd expect it's so bloody thin. But I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Apart from the broken knife, obviously. Bugger. It don't want to break, does it? You see that flexing on the video? That's a lot more. Let's try to put as much of my weight on it as I can. So yeah, I'll probably stick to this material then, just not grind it as thin. What a damn shame. Well, I won't be selling these at least. It's a damn shame. I'll keep them and do some. I'll think of some more tests for the rest of them, and yeah, feeling a bit defeated today. On the plus side, I've got a good few amount of axes here. Hey. And then two Peterson sort of profiles. There. So they just want dressing up on the forge now, straightening out. Edges softening off, and then quenching and grinding. Really gutted about them knives. Never mind. Right guys, I'll catch you later.